Hi, and welcome to part 1 of our little road trip from Rye in East Sussex. We'll return to Rye in part 2. If you didn't know, the County of East Sussex is in the south of England, and we'll dip our toes into a little of Kent in part 2. So let's take a look at the route then. In total it's 53 miles or 83 kilometres. However, this part is only 18 miles or 29 kilometres. Starting from Rye, we'll head to Rye Harbour, then along the road to Winchelsea Beach, up to the town of Winchelsea, before heading across country to finish this leg at Bodiam Castle. I'll tease you with the locations of part 2, and remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss that. So without further ado, let's start this trip. I'm going to start this road trip at Rye Station, because you may want to cycle this route, and this is a great starting point. Anyway, if you haven't already got our video on Rye, I'll pop that up at the end. Suffice to say, Rye is one of our favourite places to visit, and really, you need a whole day here. If you're looking for a recommendation for somewhere to stay, then that would have to be the Mermaid Inn. There'll be links in the description to all the places I mention on this route, such as the National Trust Lamb House. Anyway, I suppose we should hit the road on this road trip. I'm leaving one of Rye's car parks as we head out, and Rye has a number of them, but they are on the small side, and Rye is busy at the weekends. Rye was part of the medieval Cinque Ports Confederation, becoming one of its ancient towns. However, Mother Nature changed the landscape of this region. The natural harbour became silted up, and a new landscape was formed. This takes us to our next destination of Rye Harbour, and that's just under 3 miles away. There's a link in the description to the entire route we have taken in Google My Maps. It's not always the most direct way to see all the locations, but I thought it'd be fun. Rye does get a lot of tourists, and some, like our German friend here, perhaps need a bit more experience on UK roads. The secret is to relax. I'm sure I've done something similar in Germany. You'll notice there are more car parks to our left, so you should be okay when you visit. I will speed up the footage in places to help us along, but don't worry, you won't miss anything. I'll also be quiet occasionally, so you can enjoy the scenery and music. But if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that won't be for too long. I do like a nice fact and a bit of trivia. As we turn into Harbour Road, we're past the River Brede moorings, and we're not far from where the River Brede joins the River Rother. We'll see more of that shortly. One thing that surprises me whenever we head down to Rye Harbour is the little industrial estate that seems completely out of place. I've edited it out as it's not worth seeing, but if you follow this route, don't be worried if you do stumble across it. It's now only a mile before we get to the next stopover. Just a quick observation, who needs speed ramps when you have this many potholes? If you happen to be staying in Rye and don't have a car, there is a bus that will bring you down here, which is nice to know. It's also nice to know there is a large car park here, which was free at the time of recording. So let's park up and explore. Now, you may be thinking, why have you brought me here? Well, I'll call it a hidden gem. I wonder if the thousands of people that visit Rye Harbour. I would highly recommend the William the Conqueror pub, great food and shepherdly ales. Or when the tide is in, take a sea safari or boat trip. You may even get to spot the local seals. For us, it's a stroll along the River Rother, past little slices of history as we make our way to the coastline. If you don't fancy the walk, you can hire a bike at Harbour Cycles and explore the Rye Harbour Nature Reserve. I would also recommend the Ordnance Survey app to help you discover the hidden public rights of way. If you want to connect with nature on this trip, then this is a stopover for you. Make sure you pop into the Rye Harbour Discovery Centre with the Lime Kiln Cafe. As we make our way back, you should spot Martello Tower number 28, part of this country's Napoleonic War defences. Our next destination is Winchelsea Beach, which is 5 miles away by car. If you cycle, it's around 3.5 miles through Rye Nature Reserve. If you wanted to extend this trip to Hastings, and yes, we have a video on that, it's around 11 miles from here. And now I'm going to speed up the footage a little. So, as we whistle past the Winchelsea Beach Cafe, we need to look for a space to park up. I need to say this is a Monday in the summer, before the English schools have broken up for the summer holidays. You may be asking yourself, where is everybody? Have I just shown you another hidden gem? Okay, I need to be honest, the tide needs to be out for the golden sandy beaches, but time it right and you have the place to yourselves. If we look in the opposite direction from the sea defences, we can see our next destination, Winchelsea, just over 2 miles away. As I mentioned, Hastings is straight along this road, now just 8 miles away, but we need to spin around. Before we reach Winchelsea, I need to mention the Great Storm of 1287. Before that, this landscape looked very different. In that storm, vast amounts of shale was shifted, which meant areas that once had coastal access, over time, lost it. Winchelsea was one of those places, and we are now passing what would have once been Winchelsea's harbour. We're heading up Strand Hill towards the Strand Gate, and this would have been the defensive position from the sea. It may not surprise you, but we have another full video of Winchelsea. I'll give you a few snippets from that, and you can play spot the difference in the seasons. There is no town car park in Winchelsea, but you shouldn't struggle to find somewhere to park. And yes, I did say town. Winchelsea has its own mayor, by royal charter from Edward I in 1281, for a planned town. That's why Winchelsea's layout is grid-based. I should also call this New Winchelsea, as the original one, adjoining the harbour, was lost in that great storm. After Rye, Winchelsea was the other of the original 2 Cinque Ports ancient towns. The Cinque Ports Confederation performed a trading and military function, supplying the Crown with ships long before there was a Royal Navy. I found a parking space. I wonder why I always park so far away. So as I said, we'll take the briefest of views. And one reason to visit is it's the last resting place of Spike Milligan, the Anglo-Irish comedian, writer, musician, poet, playwright and actor, taken straight from Wikipedia. I remember him as being really funny. As I said, this will be brief, but now we need to get a wiggle on for the last destination in part 1, Bodiam Castle. That's around 13 miles, but we're not taking the most direct route, nor the quickest. I'm just having fun exploring. As we make our way out of Winchelsea, we'll pass the remains of the Blackfriars barn and cellar. The Blackfriars are a Dominican order. Close to where we parked were the remains of the Greyfriars Franciscan monastery. Both orders fell victim to Henry VIII's dissolution of the monasteries in the 16th century. You probably noticed I've sped things up rather than just throwing caution to the wind, but I need to slow it down again so we can catch the Pipewell Gate, another of Winchelsea's medieval entrances. As we drop down the hill, we need to keep an eye out for a turning to our left, Station Road. This will lead us to Winchelsea Station. Please check out the distance from the town. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you. Here's Winchelsea Station. And that was one of those breaks I promised you. I see cyclists in the distance. Let's give them some space. And I think it's time to let you just enjoy the landscape. I just need to slow us down for a moment to point out the buildings on the right with the conical roofs. They're roast houses, once used for drying hops for beer making, and something you really only see in the southeast of the UK. The vast majority have now been converted into homes. I've now arrived at the crossroads in Broadoak. I could carry on to Cripp's Corner, but I've decided to turn right to Horns Cross. I just love some of these place names. Where do they come from? Well, I guess Broadoak is obvious, but Cockmarlin? That was one we passed through a little earlier. Now I know I could look them up, but I think I prefer a little bit of mystery. Okay, wakey, we're on the last stretch now. And if you're still with me, then hopefully you're enjoying our little road trip. If you're not, you probably nodded off. If you have liked it and you're not already subscribed, then don't forget to and hit that notification bell. A like would be nice too, just to let me know it's worthwhile. Or drop me a comment and let me know your favourite place we visited. Anyway, we're now heading to Bodiam Station, and it's not a mainline station. It's the final stop, for now, on the Kent and East Sussex railway line. The other end is Tenterton. And of course we have a video on Tenterton for you to enjoy. We're now dangerously close to the end of this part of the road trip. There may not be a steam train in, but let's take a little look at Bodiam Station. It's like stepping back in time. I particularly like the recreation of the hop pickers' huts, a time when Londoners would come down at harvest time to pick hops, Janice's family being one of those. It's just a short walk from here to Bodiam Castle. Bodiam Castle is a National Trust property, and for National Trust members, free to visit. Now, the National Trust may not appreciate me telling you this, but non-members have to pay for the parking, but you can walk around the castle for free. You only need a ticket to enter the castle. But if the truth be told, it's worth it to step inside history. Of course, there's a full-length video which I'll pop up at the end. That brings us to the end of part 1. So I'd like to thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and until next time, stay safe, stay well, and happy travels.